Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. Actually, 8:01. Looks like. Sorry, I'm a little bit late this morning. Um, how you guys doing this morning? It's a kind of a chilly day. I was out walk or let my dog out this morning and was making my tea, and it was kind of chilly outside. And Virginia has some crazy kind of weather. It's bipolar in many cases. um, Anyway, so we'll start today with our prayer like we always do. And those of you who are joining, thank you for stopping in this morning. And hopefully everybody else will check it out on the live replay. Anyway, this morning's prayer. Lord, help me not to lean on my own understanding, but in everything acknowledge you, so that you can direct my words, my thoughts, and my actions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Um, some announcements this morning. Got a few things going on, so let me just share with you what's going to be happening with TSM Mortgage Professionals over the next couple of weeks. But before I do that, I saw something online yesterday in regards to what's happening with the coronavirus, and it appears, and you guys probably already know this, but that the governor has issued a statewide stay-at-home order. So people were staying at home initially before, but apparently the cases are on the rise, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight as of right now. So stay-at-home order. So everybody's, gotta stay, keep this thing contained, and stay inside. Find creative ways to do your work, to stay occupied, to keep your kids occupied. We've got to do what we can from this end to be able to make sure that we can get this thing contained so we can go back to normal living. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I do this live, because, generally I'm up and, getting ready to get on a plane to go to a presentation or a speaking event, or, working on, excuse me, presentations, for webinars that I do. Um, and, there's just not a lot going on right now. So anyway, do your part. Okay. Just do your part. All right. TSM announcements. I'm going to be starting a mortgage basics class online through Zoom. And that's going to start on May 4th, and it's going to be Monday and Thursday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you are interested, I know that I've talked to some people offline in regards to, them not really knowing where uh, their positions are going. Are they going to be laid off? Are they are the positions going to are they going to be able to work remotely from their positions? And there was some fear out there as far as what people are going to be able to do from an income perspective. And it's an ideal opportunity right now, if you have the means, to educate yourselves in something new. And I think that's really important, even if you're not looking for a career change. Just sort of sharpen up your tools, your toolkit a little bit. And when I say that, I'm talking about your soft skills, communication, time management, um, things that you've never really had the opportunity to commit to time wise. Now would be a great time to do that, so that when things do get back in order, you're a marketable asset. when it comes to employment. So just keep that in mind. Hey, Monica, I think that's you. Looks like you joined. So thank you for joining this morning. Hope you're doing well. Uh, so Mortgage Basics is going to start May 4th, Monday and Thursday. It is an 8-week class. So we touch on communication, time management, customer service, just sort of, on some of those soft skills. And then we go into the mortgage basic skills, and we teach from basically how to spell the word mortgage, to the entire process of the loan, the loan cycle. We talk about home ownership. We talk about, a lot of things in that class. So it's really a good class. So that's going to be May 4th, Monday and Thursday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you have an interest in the mortgage banking cycle or mortgage banking and finance, you might want to just take a look at that. I'm good, Monica. I appreciate you joining this morning. Um, so the other thing, 2 classes in April. April 16th, I'm going to be doing classes on time management and organization. So I'll have 2 classes this month, April 16th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and April 23rd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so if you need to sharpen those time management skills and organization skills, you might want to take that class. I'll put the details on Eventbrite. I am teaching a class or a workshop. I have a workshop that is on April 6th, and it's for those individuals who are transitioning from being on site and working on site and going to telework or remote opportunities. Okay, there is a method to working from home. I mean, there's a lot of perks that are there for you with working from home, but there's, in order to be productive, there are, certain things that you have to do, and it really sort of stems around just being organized and understanding, where you need to be as far as your time blocks are concerned, and things of that nature. So we're going to be talking about that. The details are on Eventbrite for that workshop, and that's on the 6th. And then, of course, as I've been talking about in each of my lives, we do a home buyer education workshop. It is from every month, the first Tuesday of every month. We do home buyer education. So if you're in the market, or you've been thinking about buying a house, or you're renting and you're, tired of your rent just going nowhere, because that's exactly what's happening when you pay rent, and you're thinking about trying to build some equity for yourself, it might be time just to take a look at a home buyer education workshop and understand, what it means to be a homeowner, what steps you need to take to become a homeowner, and the responsibilities with homeownership. Okay, so we talk about all those things in that workshop, and that is a free workshop. That's free. You just register on Eventbrite, so I can, just see, who's going to be joining, and then, just come and ask your questions. It's through Zoom, so we're here to answer your questions. On Saturday, starting Saturday, April 11th, and it's going to be every Saturday that I'm going to do this. I'm doing an effective communication class. It's going to start on April 11th. It's a 3-hour class, so it'll go from 9 to noon every Saturday. And the reason I decided to do this class, it's in my course menu that's on my website, which is tsmmortgageprofessionals.com. Go check it out if you haven't. It really sort of, I have a blog on there. I have, information about different courses and classes and mentorship programs and things of that nature. So just go ahead and take a look at my website and see if there's anything there that might interest you. Um, Everything, since we're all quarantined, is going to be online at this point. I do offer live in-person classes as well, and I'll continue to do that once the quarantine has been lifted. But right now, everything's going to be online. So, effective communication Saturdays from starting April 11th from 9 a.m. to noon. So, if you're interested, please take a look at that. The course descriptions or workshop descriptions are on my website. Okay, credit repair. Tanika Boone, she's a real estate agent, and one of my partners in mortgage banking and finance. She has a community credit repair. I think I mentioned this on a previous live, and she's doing it's a free service. So if you have some credit issues, some things that you need to sort of clean up, maybe now is the time to start looking at those things. And she does offer free credit repair. So if you're interested in that, again, it's free charge, free of service. Reach out to me, and I can give you more information. I can point you in the right direction there. All right. So that's it for announcements this morning. And today we're going to talk about positive thinking and stress management. And the reason I made this a topic for today is because, I recently, and I'm a pretty positive person, I think, and I try, to keep my levels of stress to a minimum. But recently I've just been having some, I don't know, I guess anxiety, for lack of a better term, and maybe it's because of all of the uncertainty that's going on right now, and I'm sure many of us feel it. And so yesterday I had this weird thing happen. I had been suffering from vertigo for a while now, and it just suddenly came on. I mean, I was down in Florida on a work trip, and one day I could not. I got up out of bed, to go to the bathroom, and I was so dizzy. I'd never felt that way before. And so much so that um, I couldn't stand up. And so it really kind of scared me. And, I'm one of those people who, looks up everything, so I'm one of those WebMD people. And my husband tells me that I have I've got my online medical degree, and that's the case because I have diagnosed quite a few things for myself and my kids. Rather than sending them to the doctor, I can kind of figure it out on my own. But anyway, so I looked up my symptoms, and I was confident that I had vertigo. I had all the symptoms of vertigo. So I was gone for 2 weeks down in Florida. When I got back, I went to my doctor just to, ask him, let him know what was going on, and, just make sure it wasn't anything, outside of vertigo. And he confirmed that, yes, it was vertigo. But it hasn't really subsided. I mean, it has in a sense, but it kind of keeps coming back. And recently, especially yesterday, I felt like my I couldn't get my words out, kind of like what's happening right now. I couldn't think, and my brain just felt so clogged. I mean, the only way I can explain it is this. If you have, a walk-in closet, and my closet's actually clean right now, but many times it's not. There's like tons of stuff everywhere. Um, and that closet is just really cluttered, okay? And so you're looking for a pair of shoes or a sweater or something, and you're kind of going through all your stuff and you can't find it. right? You can't find the sweater or the shirt or the blouse or whatever it is because it's in this pile of clothes that really needs to be hung up or folded and put away or whatever, right? That's how my brain felt yesterday. Okay. I could not get words out. Every day after this live, I'm in the process of just sort of learning this technology and testing different things, trying to share it onto the other platforms that I have, and I'm working with trying to create a YouTube channel and all kinds of stuff. And just recently, I figured out how to download my live into an MP4 so that I could, share it off of the social media platforms. Like, my mom doesn't have Facebook or anything like that, but she loves to listen to these lives. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to get it to her. And to do that, I had to download it into an MP4 file. And so I figured that piece of it out like a few days ago, and I didn't write it down. So I went back yesterday to try and do that with the live that I did yesterday, and I couldn't even think of the first step, like nothing. I mean, I completely lost it in my brain, and it scared me because generally, look, I just turned 50, and this is funny too, and I know I'm all over the place. My husband gave me a piece of mail yesterday, and he was chuckling when he gave it to me, and I'm like, what is this? It was my first piece of mail from AARP. I guess they know I'm 50. I don't know. When does AARP start? I think it's like 55, but well, anyway, they sent me a piece of mail. I haven't opened it yet. I'll probably do that today. I don't even know what it is, but anyway, so I didn't know if what I was dealing with was a senior moment, because we're, let's face it, we're getting up there in age, or if there's something really going on, because I keep experiencing this vertigo, and now my brain is so clogged with stuff that I don't know, where this is going. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, but it got me to thinking about just trying to relax and become stress free if you can. There's, lots of underlying things that bother us that don't even come to the surface. And I think it's important to try and figure out how to manage that. So, one of the things yesterday that I felt was happening to me is that I had some difficulty focusing, and I keep going back to the whole closet scenario where, like, you're searching for something and you can't find it. Well, that's exactly how my brain felt. So there are these apps on I have an iPhone. I'm sure they have them on Google or Samsung or whatever, but that you can listen to their sounds. They're like brainwave sounds that you can listen to, and they have them like if you have difficulty sleeping, or if you, in my case yesterday, had difficulty focusing. um they have memory stuff. I mean, all kinds of ones, and they're just these sound waves. You guys are probably familiar with it. um so yesterday I downloaded one of those apps and I put my headset on and I just sat there for a minute, and the one for focus that I listened to was just like a tunnel. It felt like, or my brain went into this mode of just being in a tunnel, and like wind in a tunnel is basically what it sounded like. But I'll be damned if that thing did not help me focus. I mean, it really, really worked. I felt like calm. I felt relaxed. I felt like in the zone when I was trying to. I'm updating some presentations right now for work, and I'm creating another presentation that I have to do for a speaking event that I'm going to have. Uh, and it really, really helps. I have noise canceling headphones, which is a good thing because, everybody's home right now and there's all kinds of stuff happening in my house, dogs barking, music playing, the whole nine. Um, and so it canceled out everything that was around me except for, this wind tunnel that I was in, on this app on my phone. And it really did help. So if you are having issues with focusing or memory lapses or, insomnia or whatever it is, try one of those apps because I mean, it really did help me yesterday. It really did. And I got everything I needed to accomplish yesterday. I mean, I worked until probably about 9:30 or 10 last night, maybe 10:30. But everything that I set out to accomplish yesterday, I actually accomplished, which was really good because I was worried about that. I'm just looking to see if there's anybody else online. I see Monica there, but I don't see anybody else. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. It's 8:22. I'm not going to keep you guys long this morning. And I wanted to share, that and how important it is to sort of manage your stress, especially in times like this. So I wanted to talk very briefly about positive thinking and, how do we use positive thinking to manage our stress levels. And so the first thing is that we have to do is we have to identify um, negative thinking. A lot of times the first thing that comes out of our mouth is something negative. I'm guilty of it, quite a bit, and I'm sure others are too. But we don't even realize that that's what we're doing. So, does anybody know what the phrase self-talk means? I had never actually called it self-talk, but what that is, it's the endless stream, and I looked up the definition, the endless stream of unspoken thoughts, excuse me, that run through your mind. That's what self-talk is. So that's that little voice in your head that either speaks positively or negatively, and in most cases, it's negative, right? And so once you identify what those negative things are and the negative thoughts that are going through your head, at that point in time, you have the opportunity to sort of change, some of those things. So I wrote down here self talk comes from logic or reason. So when you're trying to think logically or reasonably, sometimes that little voice in your head just kind of pops in there and throws your whole game off there. And then the other thing is misconception. So the lack of information kind of fuels negative self-talk. So you have to think about your self thought and or talk, excuse me, and think about whether those things are positive or negative, right? And if your self-talk is more on the positive side, then you're an optimist, right? If your self talk is more on the negative side, then you might be considered a pessimist. So, you know, um, reflect and try and figure out, where you are on that scale. Some characteristics of negative thinking are filtering, personalizing, and catastrophizing. Catastrophizing, I think, is the word. Um, so filtering is when you magnify um, negative thoughts, right? Those thoughts are magnified, the negative thoughts, and then you filter the positive thoughts out of your brain. Okay. So your brain just automatically goes to negative mode. That's what filtering is. And then personalizing is automatically blaming yourself for something. So it's automatically your fault. You're always thinking it's automatically your fault. So that's what personalizing is. And then catastrophizing is automatically anticipating the worst. Okay. And a lot of people do that. Sometimes people think, that they're just being rational thinkers, but there's a difference between being, and at least in my opinion, being a rational thinker and, being negative, catastrophizing. Okay. That's the word, the word of the day. I need to say it just so I can pronounce it properly. So those are some of the things of negative thinking, some of the characteristics of negative thinking: filtering, personalizing, and catastrophizing. All right. So one of the things that before, we head out today, um, oh, by the way, today's tea is raspberry zinger. And it's all the teas that I have are good. But if you have suggestions on tea, I love tea. I love drinking tea in the morning. And if there's a good tea out there that you enjoy, throw it in the chat box, and I'll go get it because I love drinking tea in the morning. Anyway, getting back to where I was with self-talk, I want to just share something really quick, um, because what I'm going to task you today is putting positive thinking into practice. Okay, so we talked about negativity, and we talked a little bit about positivity. Before I end, I want to end it on a positive note. So we're going to put positive thinking into practice. So I pulled up some things here on my computer as far as negative self-talk and how to combat that. So here's some examples of negative self-talk, and I'm gonna, basically give the positive to each of these negatives. So if you say, I've never done it before, instead of, I've never done that before. If you think positively, a response to that would be, this is an opportunity to learn something new. So instead of saying to yourself in your self talk, I've never done that before, you're automatically creating a shield or a barrier to be able to try new things, right? So a way to think of that in a positive manner is to say, this is an opportunity for me to learn something new. So if I'm thinking positively, if you say, oh, I've never done that before, it immediately, like even when I say those words right now, I've never done that before, it immediately instills some sort of a fear, like I don't want to try it because I've never done it before. So it's automatically fear. And I feel that in my brain just by saying those words just right now. But if I say, this is an opportunity to learn something new, for some reason, those, whatever it is up there in your brain, for some reason, it opens up your brain and your way of thinking to be receptive to something new. And I can say that because I truly, like, just even in talking in this live right now, that's what I feel. I could feel my brain opening up when I said those words. It's crazy, I know, but it really does work. So here's another one. It's too complicated. All right. Immediately, when you say it's too complicated, you are closing yourself off immediately. Instead, say, I'll tackle it from a different angle. Automatically, when you do that, you're opening your brain up to be resourceful. Okay. If you say it's too complicated, then it's difficult to find a way because you've already shut yourself down. But if you say, I'll tackle it from a different angle, use a different perspective, it automatically gives you hope that you're going to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. All right, here's another one. I don't have the resources. Um, Positive thinking: necessity is the mother of invention. How powerful is that statement. Necessity is the mother of invention. What does that mean to you? Well, what that means to me is that when we're backed into a corner and we know we don't have the resources or the means to do something, we find a way. We find a way. So necessity, okay, the need for something because you don't have it is the mother of invention. That's how people come up with new ideas. Okay. Now, yes, we had these mask manufacturers, who manufacture these masks for, the medical field only during this coronavirus. But we got people popping up all over the place, trying to, make these masks, right? And it's because there's a need for them. People identify with the need and then they become resourceful all of a sudden, you know. I mean, there's people out there who's sewing right now who never picked up a needle and a piece of thread in their life because of the necessity of it, right? So think of that. I'm going to do one more. I'm too lazy to get this done. All right. So I don't know if anybody really admits to being lazy, um, but here's the positive way to think of that. I wasn't able to fit this into my schedule, but I can re-examine some priorities. Okay. So instead of just saying, oh, I don't feel like it, or I'm just too lazy, or whatever. If you can't do it, I'm not able to fit it into my schedule, but I can re-examine some priorities. I didn't really like that one too much. I'll do this last one. There's no way it's going to work. And the positive way of thinking is I can try to make it work. Okay. So instead of saying, no, I can't do that, or there's no way I can do that, just try and think, well, let me try. Let me just try it and see what happens. I talk about can versus can't in one of my training sessions, and, having a can do attitude. That's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of things that we might not be able to do, um, simply because of, the our strengths and our weaknesses and things of that nature. But always be willing to try, or take a different angle, look at it from a different perspective. I think that's really important with positive thinking. So I'm going to leave you with that basically. And the task, I always leave you guys with a task every day, is put positive self-talk into action. So try to train or retrain your brain to think positive. Okay. And I gave you some examples of ways to do that. So this week, when you feel yourself saying something negative, or you feel yourself saying that I can't, think of ways that you can. Try to have a positive outlook on everything. And I'm going to try to do the same. All right. So thank you guys for joining me today. Go check out my website. Take a look at some of the courses that I offer. And then if you can join me for the webinar, the Zoom webinar workshop that I'm doing on transitioning into remote opportunities, and take the home buyer education class if that's something that you have an interest in. All right. Hey, good morning, Allie. How you doing? Thank you for joining today. Wasn't sure. We're actually getting ready to end our live, but I start at 8 o'clock every morning, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to join in future events. Um, we do this every morning. Morning tea with Tiffany, 8 a.m. All right. So thanks again for those of you who did join. I will be putting this out on the replay here very shortly. And if there's anything I can help you with in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great morning, everyone, and a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.